All right, so got quite a change of scenery here for most of you guys who are watching these videos, the three of you. Just figured I would incorporate this sweet mat that was given to me by a student of mine, Maddie. She has moved away. This is a really cool sort of going away present to me. I miss you quite a bit, but I wanted to make sure I showed you and anybody else who is watching some way you can incorporate something like this into training. And if you don't have a sweet mat like this made out of bowstring, then you could definitely on a wall, preferably in a garage or somewhere that's not going to be important, put some tape up or paint targets on the wall. It's an easy way of sort of giving yourself the defensive angles that you need to have without a training partner. Now, for this video, I'm going to be using the circles on all four corners and the center of the X, okay? What we're going to cover in this next couple of videos is we're going to be using this to sort of illustrate Lacaste Inosanto 7 principles. So these are the principles of Lacaste Inosanto Kali that apply. And then from there, we'll also go through some of the follow-ups as well. So usually we refer to them as the 7 principles and 7 counters. So what we're going to do first, and some of these are going to illustrate a lot more than others, are going to be easier to illustrate a lot more than others. But for right now, we're just going to picture that each of these is a stick coming at me. So for instance, this one here would either be a backhand or a forehand on that diagonal. Same thing on this opposite side here. This one here would be the illustration of the thrust. So essentially we're running through a Cinco Terre pattern. So you can go down, up, down, and thrust for Cinco Terre number 3. And that's how we can kind of visualize this. So what we're going to do first, the first principle of Lacaste Inosanto Kali is ordabis, or ordabis. And you're going to backhand everything. Anything that comes at you, backhand it. Okay? So if this shot's coming at me, I backhand it. This one's coming at me, I backhand it. That one backhand, this one backhand, and this one backhand. I should mention these are largo mono counters, so this is a longer range. So I can backhand, 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 and backhand. So that is me countering each of these shots. Now, it's using a principle to counter. Now we're going to do a follow-up hit. Now, the first follow-up hit is also a backhand. So I'm going to try and run through the follow-up hits, and then we'll go into the next principle in the next video. So the first one is I backhand, and then backhand as a hit. I backhand as a hit, backhand as a hit, backhand as a hit, and backhand as a hit. So one more time, I hit the counter, or I deflect the shot, and then I counter. Deflect the shot, counter. Deflect the shot, counter. Deflect the shot, and counter. Deflect the shot, and counter. So the first principle is backhand. The first counter is backhand. It's pretty easy to remember. Again, find your targeting however you see fit. Now, the next one we're going to do is backhand to redondo. So we're going to use a backhand redondo. So I hit my backhand as the counter. I hit a backhand, and then I hit a backhand redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, and redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. And backhand, backhand, redondo. So that can be any of the backhands and any of the redondos. So I could be using this as a backhand snapping motion, or I could go backhand and redondo as well. So this could go backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. Backhand, backhand, redondo. And backhand, backhand, redondo. So that would be the next one. Next one is backhand to X. So everything, again, the principle doesn't change, is I backhand. That's me deflecting their shot. Okay? Now I'll give them a backhand and then an X. I backhand, backhand, and X. Backhand, backhand, X. Backhand, backhand, and X. Backhand, backhand, and X. Backhand, backhand, and X. Now again, just like in the previous option, your backhand can be a snapping backhand, or it can lob tick all the way through. So I can backhand that counter, backhand through, and then X. Backhand, backhand, X. Backhand, backhand, X. backhand, backhand, X, and backhand, backhand, X. So we've now worked our backhand, backhand X. So you follow the backhand. Now the next one we're going to do is we hit a backhand. Then we hit our backhand X to a redondo. Then we hit a backhand, backhand X to a redondo, backhand, backhand X to a redondo, backhand, backhand X to a redondo, and backhand, backhand X to a redondo. So the first principle, again, doesn't change. Backhand. First counter, it will change. We have done a backhand. We've done a backhand X. Sorry, I did that backwards. Backhand, backhand redondo, backhand X. Backhand redondo, or X redondo. Now this one's going to be backhand redondo X. Backhand, counter with the backhand, hit the redondo, then hit the X. Hit the backhand, hit the redondo, hit the X. Hit the backhand, hit the backhand, hit the redondo, hit the X. Hit the backhand, hit the backhand, hit the redondo, and X. Hit the backhand, hit the backhand, hit the redondo, and X. Backhand, backhand, redondo, X. Backhand, backhand, redondo, X. Backhand, backhand, redondo, X. Backhand, backhand, redondo, X. And backhand, backhand, redondo, X. So that is our first 4 principles, right? We have our backhand, or first counters, excuse me. We have our backhand, we have our backhand redondo, we have our backhand X, we have our backhand X to redondo, and backhand redondo X. That's 5. The next 2 we've got are going to be the kilot and the kaiwan, okay? Kilot meaning lightning strike. So we hit our backhand, and then we go straight into our kilot, which is a wittick, and then a slash. Backhand, wittick, 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 slash. And backhand, wittick, slash. It can also be backhand, wittick, slash. So I can go backhand, wittick, slash. Backhand, wittick, slash. Backhand, wittick, slash. Backhand, wittick, slash. And backhand, wittick, slash. So that's your kilot 2 different ways. Now the last one is kaiwan, okay? I was always taught it was split the bamboo, okay? So usually it's an Amara pattern from Illustrissimo system. I've heard the term Amara through Rick Fay. It's downward diagonal, upward diagonal, and downward diagonal. So numbering system, Lacaste numbering system, 1, 2, that would be an 11 and a 1, okay? I'm sorry, not 11, a 9. 1, 2, 9, and 1, or 1, 2, 10, and 1, depending on where the stick bounces on your 8. So this one's going to go, you hit your backhand, then you're going to go right into your kaiwan. So 1, 2, up and around. Backhand, down, up and around. Backhand to counter, down, up and around. Backhand to counter, down, up and around. And backhand to counter, down, up and around. Okay? I kind of cheated on that last one. I'm not going to edit that because I was going to show you that anyway. I'm sorry. So I did the forehand kaiwans, down, up and around. Now we're going to do the backhand kaiwans, down, up and around. So you hit your backhand, down, up and around. 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 And hit your backhand, down, up and around. So, just to recap, because I understand there's a lot going on here. Your first principle, we didn't change. You backhand anything and everything coming at you. So I backhand it, okay? First counter after your first principle. So I backhand everything, followed by a backhand as a strike. Backhand everything, backhand as a strike. Next one is we hit our backhand, then we hit our backhand to follow up with a redondo. And again, it can go through and redondo here. Third one, you hit your backhand, counter with the backhand, and then cut the X. Or hit the backhand, counter with the backhand, excuse me, and cut the X. And then the next one we have is you hit the backhand, you counter with the backhand, you do your redondo and your X, you hit your backhand, you hit the backhand to counter, and then you do your redondo and X. Next one is backhand. Hit your backhand, hit your X to your redondo, hit the backhand, X, and the redondo. Now we go to the key lot two different ways. Hit your backhand, you hit your watik, slash, hit your backhand, watik, slash, backhand, watik, slash, backhand, watik, slash. Or you have your backhand with one watik and two slashes. Backhand, watik, slash, slash, backhand, watik, slash, slash, backhand, watik, slash, slash, backhand, watik, slash, slash. And then lastly, we do our kaiwan, or our split the bamboo, which is our backhand, and we either go on the backhand side, down, down, up, and around, or we hit the backhand, and we go forehand, down, down, up, and around. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the idea, again, is no matter what's coming at you, you backhand it, follow it up with any of those other follow-ups. Thank you. Have fun.